The chairman of CREDAI, Sri Sekhar Reddy, my colleague in Parliament, Madam, our housing minister now. She is a good friend of mine because she has been spokesperson and then Women's Commission chairman and also has been in public life all these years. I have a special liking for her, not to her about her party, but personally about her. We are not enemies. We are rivals. We are political rivals. We are not enemies. Whether it is BJP or the Congress party or other parties, all of us in their own way are trying to work for the people of India. Some may succeed, some may fail. With some we may agree, with some we may not agree. But at the same time, we are all Indians and we should all work for the upliftment of India and growth of India. Friends, I'm sorry I have not come prepared because I'm just coming from, again, from her place after the swearing-in ceremony of the Chief Minister of Rajasthan. Suddenly in the airport, Jakshay, I don't know, how can I say, I don't call him as friend because he's like my child. The young Jakshay told me there is a peculiar situation that Rajnath Singh ji has agreed to come to CREDAI meeting and he's not able to make it because of continuously 3 days continuous swearing in. Chhattisgarh yesterday, today Rajasthan, tomorrow Bhopal, and in between some meetings. He's not able to come, so he said, if you don't mind, why don't you substitute him and then come over here. I said, I have no problem. I don't believe in this so-called protocol and all. We are all working together in the party organization. Someone from the party should come here and then meet and greet, talk with the delegates. That's the purpose I came straight from airport. Then I have another important engagement just now, so I have to go to that. I have some fair knowledge about CREDAI because I have come to your conference earlier. Then I also, if you understand the problems of India, you can understand the problems of CREDAI also. There is nothing different. There's a problems, galore of problems now. Problem everywhere. That is the problem now, as on now. So I will try to open up my mind. My mind means not personal, my party's approach. And then I will await for the conclusions of this CREDAI conference. And then again, I can assure you, we'll focus on these conclusions in our party internal forums and also try to accommodate them to the extent possible in our manifesto and also in our document, and also in our vision document. I think when Hiranandani ji was there, I came to the CREDAI conference and then tried to understand some of the problems. Friends, you are all aware in 1998 when our government was there, a housing policy was evolved after so much consultation. And today, as I told you, there are problems everywhere. The main problem today, according to me, is the problem of decision making. Decisions are not taken. I am not here to criticize this party or that party. I don't want to use this forum. We have ample opportunity to do it outside. But at the same time, facts are facts, cannot be ignored. The real reason is today that there is a, I don't use that harsh word which you use outside, of paralysis, etc., but there is a lack of decision making. That is the reason for the present situation in the country. There is a fiscal deficit, there is a revenue deficit, there is a trade deficit, there is a current account deficit, and above all, there is a trust deficit. That's the problem today, India's problem. And the reason is people, because of lack of clarity on the policy formulation and policy implementation, people are looking outside. Our government is asking people from outside to come in. Our people in India are looking outside and they are trying to go outside. This is the irony of the situation. I think the icon of Indian industry, Ratan Tata, said, we don't have leadership and we don't have proper policy. That's one reason. There has to be clarity in your mind. When Sri Atal Bihari Vajpayee was there as the Prime Minister, we inherited a situation and then we tried to improve upon it, and then we have taken the growth rate to 8.24%. And today it has come down to 5%. The inflation also was contained. What happened at the time? Every section, every sector was given a push by various reforms and then various policy formulations and implementation of the same. There was a reform in the housing sector. Housing is the need of the hour. Without house, how can you live? You can live without a wife, but you can't live without a family, without a house. You may decide not to marry. The choice is yours. And there are other new things also are happening. I don't want to talk about them now. But you need some shelter. India with 120 crore population, the basic first need is, of course, food. The second need is freedom. And third need is shelter. More than anything else, you cannot survive without a shelter. That is the basic challenge before the government and before the political parties. Sanitary conditions, hygienic conditions, health, education, these are all important. I am not denying them. But more important is you need to provide a shelter. Shelter gives people confidence. People give some time for the people to think about their future and plan their future also if you have a shelter. If you are shelterless, then it will be anarchy. That should be avoided. We have not focused enough attention on this issue. How do you create? For that you need reforms in the land acquisition. You need reforms in the banking sector. You need a rational and radical approach with regard to interest rates. You need to have quick clearances. You need to have minimum interference, and you need to have a self-ethical code also by the industry. This is very much needed, and CREDAI, I'm told, is having on its agenda about adherence of this ethical code of conduct. Ethics are very important in every walks of public life, and particularly in housing sector, it's very much necessary. See, I remember one day when the interest rates were going, and then the housing was deleted, if I am right, from the priority sector of lending. I asked the finance minister at that time in the House. He said, already this money, 40% is being invested in the housing sector, Mr. Naidu. What will happen to the country? He said. I said, nothing is going to happen. After all, money is not going to go out. If you are investing on housing, there is something which is visible. One of the reasons in India why the economy has not totally ruined or crumbled is that you are investing on some assets which are there, at least, which are going to be created, which will not only provide you shelter, but also provide you the needed economic support also. And if you go wrong or if you become defaulter, there is a house which can be taken back. That is a basic thing one should understand. If you reduce the interest rate, what will happen? More houses will come. So what is the problem? I am not able to understand. Sri Atal Bihari Vajpayee has brought down the interest rate from 16% to 7.5%, 8% for the housing at that time. I am not a urbanite, I am a rural person, that too son of a farmer. But I believe the coming days, whoever comes to power, the agenda has to be how to bring down the interest rates. That is the need of the hour. I can assure you, my party will focus on this. It will not only reduce interest rates for agriculture, it will reduce interest rate for even housing also on a priority. Government alone cannot construct houses. It's not possible. And you know, if the government construct houses, what will happen also? And there has to be a repair department from next day onwards. And that is not the area. See, you need to involve private sector. And BJP, we do not feel shy about talking about private sector. Public and private partnership is the need of the hour. If the India has to move forward, if the country has to move forward, you need to involve private sector and public sector together. Then only you can move forward. Then also, you need to give equal importance to agriculture and also industry. Industry includes even housing. Housing should be declared as an industry. Real estate has to be declared as an industry. And it should be given that status. And it should be given priority so that you create enough shelter for the people of the country. So these two are like two eyes of a human being, industry and agriculture. And within the industry, this is important. I remember my grandfather used to tell me, everything should not be left to government. But unfortunately, we politicians, all of us, we made the people to think that sab kaam sarkar karega, hum bekar baithe to bhi chalega. Even for small things also. Those days have gone. In this age of liberalization, privatization, globalization, LPG. If you use LPG proper manner, you can do wonders. If you mishandle LPG, then it will catch fire and finish you also. So that being the case, today, there is no meaning in cursing, in condemning and retreating or downgrading or not giving enough importance to private sector. Private sector also has to be given equal importance. I am not trying to undermine public sector. Public sector is important and also private sector also is equally important. So we in the NDA or the BJP, we consider the real estate sector of the industry as an important segment of the industry, and we will try to provide what all the safeguards that are required for proper functioning of the real estate sector in the country. This is one idea I have in my mind. For another thing is, friends, if you want to really strengthen the housing sector and urban real estate, then you must also create wealth in the country. Without creating wealth, you cannot have development. There is a big debate going on between Amartya Sen and the other Jagadish Bhagwati ji and all. I do not understand what is the logic between that, whether growth is important or development is important. Common sense tells me, I am not an economist, without growth, how do you have development? Without growth, how do you have development? You have to create growth and then you have to develop the country also. Since my student days, I used to hear from my communist friends, distribute. Telugu, they used to say in Telugu, panchari. Panchari means distribute. So one day I suddenly got a question and asked one of my comrades, panchari ante mundu penchari kadaya. Panchari means if you want to distribute, you have to create wealth. Then only you can distribute. Otherwise you can only distribute on paper. So if you have to create wealth, you need a strong leadership. You need a strong policy. You need a proper implementation of the policy that comes next. So clarity, one. And secondly, broad unity, two, in the country. And third is commitment to implement what you suggest and what you promise. That is the need of the hour. Friends, I feel that this present day, the situation is that we have all the capacity. India has got all the capacity. We can excel. There is no need to get totally disheartened and then become desperate and then say nothing is going to happen. Aisa ho gaya, waisa ho gaya, aisa ho gaya. Still, the country has the capacity to come back and then move forward. What is required is certain policy formulations. The objectives of CREDAI, of Ethical Code of Conduct, transparency, and also the promoting the interest of the construction workers and to educate them on the best practices, encourage research in profession of construction and real estate development. These are also should really be focal points for your discussion, and you must come something concrete because the real estate sector has grown and now you need to focus your attention on the quality. Quality will come by research, quality will come by proper counseling of the people and proper education of the staff who are involved in that, and also bringing in transparency so that your credibility will go high. If your credibility goes high, then you can do good business. That's my suggestion to the real estate sector and people who are working in the CREDAI. Friends, as I told you that I have just come here to express my moral support with regard to urban land ceiling. My party and my government has taken a historical decision at that time. And now the CREDAI has been always asking for abolition of the urban land seizing. Practically, it's now it's a gone case. Stamp duty rationalization. This is another area where I am not able to understand. You construct a house, I purchase a house, and in between we have to pay heavy stamp duty to the government. इसमें government का role क्या है मुझे समझ में नहीं आ रहा है. Because the registration department, to my knowledge, is established to create a register of the assets, of the property. So for the state, proper details, who owned this land, earlier who owned it, what are the details, all these things. And in between, government is going on increasing it 2%, 3%, 5%, 7%, 9%, 11%, 13%. I purchase a house and I have to pay 13% to government. If government is giving me current, I am paying. If government is giving me water, I am paying. If the government is laying road, I am paying. All these things are paid separately. And then again this registration, it has to be rationalized. I can assure you already some states have started in the direction of rationalizing the stamp duty. And the third thing is about the real estate financing. The best, most secured finance in this country, to my knowledge, is the real estate. Because the property is there in front of you. The property is there in front of you. If you invest in share is not visible. It's only on paper. Value may not be there. But if you invest in real estate, there is estate where, in front of you, small or big, the land is very much available. So the government or the banks should not feel afraid or shy in financing the real estate sector. And the Indian Banking Association, people should seriously think about it, and also they should provide adequate funds for this sector in order to create even again activity in the market. It will provide employment. Housing sector will provide employment. Steel industry, cement industry, even the construction labor, the other people who are involved in this will provide a lot of employment. That is another area where the focus has to be there. I can assure you that will be one of the priority things for our party and our government. I am sure, of course, in the coming days, there is going to be election. People will decide. But I have seen people are tired. They want something where there is a decisive leadership. I go around the country. I am the past president. Past president means, unlike CREDAI and other organizations, in BJP, past president, present president, future president, all will be active only. Because this is only temporary. In our party, president presides, team decides. So when I go around, press people ask me in Bhopal one day, Venkaiah ji, आप अध्यक्ष ने फिर भी इतना घूम रहे? मैंने कहा आपको कोई आपत्ति है क्या? They said, no, आपत्ति नहीं है सर, नॉर्मली प्रेसिडेंट घूमते हैं, ज़्यादा मिलते हैं लोगों से. मैंने कहा आपका दूसरा परंपरा, उसके प्रभाव ज़्यादा है आपके मन के ऊपर, मगर हमारा परंपरा अलग है. प्रेसिडेंट रहे ना रहे, आपका माइंड में ऐसा है तो प्रेसिडेंट, नहीं तो डिसिडेंट, कुछ नहीं मिले तो रेसिडेंट. ये हमारा पद्धति ऐसा नहीं है. मैं घूमता रहता हूँ देश भर में. I have been wondering why this craze for one man, why this talk about one man in the entire country, why this? I talked to a lot of people and I came to the conclusion, the real reason is people feel he is decisive. He will take decisions, quick decisions. That's why in the entire country people are talking about Namo, 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 Namo and all this. Yeah, all this is, that's because of that. The country is now really craving for decision making. Decision making, this way or that way. You take some decision and then try to implement them. See the national highway, what is happening? 6-lane highway. We are not able to move forward. GVK has gone out. GMR has gone out from the 6-lane highway. Earlier people used to stand in queue for filing tenders. Now people are walking out in queue, withdrawing from the tender. Why this is happening? The Prime Minister formed a separate committee, then he has formed a task force, then he himself is reviewing it. In spite of this, all these things are not moving forward because decisions are lacking. There seems to be lack of clarity also. That seems to be a major issue. I can assure you these issues will be addressed by us in the coming days. Friends, as I told you, I just have come here to extend you moral support and assure you that after our deliberations today and tomorrow, I will see whether my president on his return tomorrow from Bhopal, whether he will be able to make it to this meeting. I can't assure you, but I can assure you I will talk to him and then try to convince him to come over here and then join you in your concluding conference. I can assure you, as I told you, you have your deliberations, make concrete and practical and possible solutions. Simply making solutions which are not possible and which is not implementable, you know, I know, what is the condition of the country today, what is the condition of the country's finances, what is the value of the rupee. That is also a major area of concern for us. Keeping all these things, one must plan it. Sometimes I dread to think suddenly if we come to power, what will happen? You don't have a magic wand. So you don't have a magic wand suddenly to bring rupee from 64 rupees to 44 rupees. Our fiscal deficit, trade deficit, revenue deficit, current account deficit, wipe out all the deficit. It's not that much easy and that much simple. So that being the case, we have to be realistic. So I request you to be realistic. And then because nowadays making promises is very easy. And breaking promises also is equally easy. That's what we are seeing. That's why the credibility of the politician is at stake. I don't make you tall promises. And I don't promise you nothing free. Some people are talking about free power, free power, free power. I told in my state, if free power means it will be low power and then no power at the end of it. And first it will be low power and then it will be no power. Somebody has to pay for power now. How can you do it? But unfortunately in this country, I take this opportunity to share what is in my mind in one sentence and say, giving grinders, giving Mangal Sutras, giving mixies, giving TV sets, is it the need of the hour? Or providing them shelter, providing the food, is it the need of the hour? All politicians and political parties should seriously think about it. You don't have toilets. You do not have urinals for the girl child and she goes to a school or a college. And you don't have proper drinking water facility. And you are talking of providing all the other entertainment, these things. Somebody told me in my party, sir, don't oppose it. People are crazy about TV. I said they'll be crazy and then they'll become lazy. They don't work also. So, but the need of the hour is to create permanent assets, to strengthen the value of Indian economy, and also to improve the economic condition of the people and give them supporting hand. That should be the policy direction. Keeping that in mind, whatever is possible within the available present situation, we'll definitely try to improve it. I can assure you, and once we come to power, I'm sure we will, there will be quick decision making and there will be continuance of the great policy formulations led by Sri Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji, and then retain whatever good, if any, in the present government also. Simply we don't abandon because this government have initiated that we should come and then change it. We don't do it. I can assure you there will be policy continuation and at the same time there will be further improvements to that. Thank you very much. Namaskar. Jai Hind.